Everybody, welcome to the next 45 minutes of going through the wonderful, but can be confusing, annoying, delightful world of digital AI tools. And every tool I'm going to show you today is going to be free to use or freemium. So you can do a certain amount for free and then you have to pay if you want to get more. But just to let you know, for every tool that I'll show you, I don't own shares in any of the companies. There's no affiliate link. There's no put hashtag Andrew at the checkout for 20% off. None of that. I'm just showing you some of the best tools that I have seen that gets you results for free. So I hope you're ready. I hope you've got a pen. I hope you've got things near you because there's going to be a lot of tools that I'm going to show you as well. Now, I have two rules whenever I'm doing any type of workshop. The first is get your phones near you. Keep them on and keep it near you. Your phone is going to be your best friend in this because sometimes it's good when I'm talking about a tool to actually use it while I'm going through it as well. So feel free to use your phone, take notes, or actually go to the website and try and get results instantly. If we can get results while you're in the session, that will be amazing. My second rule, please don't believe anything I tell you today. I will not be offended, I promise. They say knowledge is power. I actually don't believe that. I think knowledge is potential power, is what you do with the information that counts. So what you're going to see is me giving you a whole bunch of tools that you can use and get results from. But I often say to people, don't believe me, try it. Try the stuff that I'm going to show you because I guarantee you're going to see an improvement of how you go about using digital. Now, a question that I do have for everybody in here is before we start, I always like to find out people's skill level when it comes to digital communications. So right in front of you, you should have a poll. I just want to kind of get an idea of the room. Would you say you're basic? And basic is, you know what it is, but you're not necessarily getting results consistently. Would you say you're intermediate level? And intermediate is you're getting results. It might not be as consistent as you like, but deep down, you know there's a lot to learn. Or would you say you're advanced? Advanced essentially is you know a lot, but more importantly, you know what to focus on. What level would you say you are? And hi, everyone who's using the chat. Always nice to see some names. Okay, cool. So I'm going to end the poll now. I'm going to share the results so you can see. The vast majority of you, so 69% of you are intermediate level, 24% basic, and we've got 6% that are advanced. Brilliant. I'm going to show you tools for all types of levels. So don't worry, if you're basic, the tools that I'm going to show you is not too advanced for you. And if you're advanced, don't worry, it's not going to be too basic for you. I'm going to make sure that everyone is covered in some way, shape, or form. So who am I? Who am I? What's my background? Why have I been invited to talk to you? I've only worked online. My first job back in 2001 was I used to moderate chat rooms and forums for the TV show Pop Idol. Don't know if anyone remembers Pop Idol with Gareth Gates and Will Young. That was my introduction to the world of digital in 2001, and I've been working in this space ever since. So next year will be 25 years. So I worked for Pop Idol. I worked for Liverpool Football Club, and no, I don't support Liverpool. They paid well. I went with the money, if I'm being honest. Sony PlayStation and a site called Friends Reunited. I don't know if anyone on here remembers Friends Reunited, that website. Then, when it comes to the internet or digital communications, the only way you were going to speak to anybody was via chat rooms, forums, and email. That was pretty much the internet then. And I left there after a year because my mum and dad said, get a proper job. Because working on the internet and working from home wasn't considered a proper job back in 2001, 2002. And that's when I was at the BBC. And I was at the BBC for a number of years. And you start seeing digital communication start to change. It started going from the chat rooms, the forums to Web 1.0. And it was you were kind of defined by what websites you went to. I went to eBay. I went to Ask Jeeves. I went to Alta Vista. And I was at Radio 1 Extra. I was part of the team to launch Radio 1 Extra. And I was there for about 4.5 years until I got poached by a small startup in San Francisco, or in LA, actually. They were based at the time. But they'd just been bought by Rupert Murdoch for 600 million. And it was this new thing in 2006 called social media. And I decided to take the biggest gamble of my career. And I left the comforts of the BBC to be part of the team to launch MySpace. So I don't know if anyone remembers MySpace back in the day, but that was my job for, well, I can say I was at MySpace from 2006 to 2009. So I was there for the rise and the fall. So I know what works and what doesn't, and what tools can actually help you as well, or what's needed in a tool to actually help you as well if you're going to be using digital communications from social media. And then what I do now is I just go all over the world. Since 2009, I go all over the world training organizations of all sizes. And I've trained probably about 16,000 people. And in the charity sector, at least 6,000 to 7,000 charities as well. But what I've learned over the years working in this space, especially if you're going to use tools, one of the first things to really nail is, so what? Why am I going to use this tool? Because as you probably know, especially if you're in advanced, you can spend a lot of time playing around with a lot of tools and get nowhere. And without speaking to you, I already know time will be a challenge when it comes to digital communications. So what is important, what I want to show you is, I don't want to just show you a bunch of tools. I want to strategically show you tools to help you reach goals that you're after. And that could be to increase funding, that could be to increase awareness, to build communities, to influence conversations, whatever it may be. So let's look at it strategically. And what I'm going to do is then show you tools that will help for each bit. I realized quite early on in my career, especially when I was being training, that after a while, the same challenges, the same wants, the same needs come up. It doesn't matter what industry I'm teaching in or who I'm teaching. The same things come up over and over again. And I realized that when it comes to digital communications, there's only 3 questions that you really want to answer in order to build a very robust strategy. And the 3 questions are: what content can I create? How can I get that content to the relevant people? And what can I get them to do? What content can I create? How can I promote that content to the relevant people or your target audience? And once they see it, what can I get them to do? Or if you want 3 words, create, distribute, convert. That's it. That's the game. I often say digital is simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. And this is why we have 15-year-old millionaires. They've not even finished high school yet, and they're making millions from TikTok or whatever it may be. We're not trying to create Google's algorithm. We're not trying to sort out the back end of Amazon. What we're really trying to do is create content, get it to our audience, and get them to act. That is pretty much it. So what I'm going to be showing you today is what tools fit for each bit. Now, let's start with distribute. And the reason I want to start with distribute rather than content creation first is because going into 2026, I actually think this is going to be our biggest challenge. It's not so much creating content. Creating content is relatively simple now. Distribution is key. In my lifetime, I've met a lot of talented broke singers, amazing singers, no one's heard of them. And I see the same when I work with a lot of charities. Amazing content. You've got a great cause, but no one's heard of you. And it's not that your cause isn't great, it's your promotion isn't great. So what I'm going to show you now is just some of the key ways that you can use tools for distribution, or what are the relevant tools. But first, I want to ask you guys this. On the internet, there are only 3 ways people are going to find anything you put on the internet. Only 3 ways. Not including advertising or going directly to your website. What do you think those 3 ways are? What do you think the 3 ways are people can find your content online? Put in the chat. So word of mouth, someone's put there. Search, so search is one. Google search engines. So search is one. I type in a keyword into whatever and something comes up. I'm going to say social media, word of mouth, all of that. I'll put that as number 2. And the last one, I've only seen one person say that, and that's Nicholas. I've got to give you, but now Alice has said it. And that is stumbled upon, or you found it by accident, or algorithms. So Liz, you've mentioned websites. How do you find the website? Because content is website. You're either going to find it, either because I know who you are, you've done an advert or search, somebody shared it with me, or for whatever reason, that content came up in my algorithm. I cannot think of another way that people are going to find your content online. If you can think of them, please let me know. And if it can begin with an S, it just makes this slide a lot easier to kind of deliver. So because of these three things, and it's so important to know this, because otherwise you'll be one of the millions of people who upload content on social media and get 1 or 2 views. It's really important you know tools to help with all of these. So when it comes to search, a really good free tool to use is called Ubersuggest. Don't worry, I'm going to give you links to all of these tools. Why I like Ubersuggest is because what it does is I can type, there's a number of things it does, but I can type in any keyword and it tells me a whole bunch of things. And in fact, can somebody in the chat give me a keyword that's relevant to you? And I'll just do a live example. So there's a lot. Okay, let's go with, what was the first one? Climate action. Climate action. So what I'll do is I go here, put it into the summary, and it tells me a few things. One, because I've done it for the United Kingdom, as you can see here, in the United Kingdom, for that keyword climate action, you've got 1.3, you've got 1,000 on average, 1,300 searches a month for that keyword over the year. So that's one of the first things that's really important to kind of know, because the internet works off the basic principles of economics, which is supply and demand. You want to know if there's a demand for certain keywords, and this is one of them. The other thing as well, it looks at how difficult it is when it comes to SEO, and 87 means it's going to be very difficult. So depending on your budget and your skill set and time, that might be a word that you might not, from an SEO point of view, try and rank for. We can't, obviously, social media is, not social media, generative AI is playing a big part of how people are finding you. So here it kind of breaks down the prompt intent as well. It also tells you how many people are linking to certain pages or certain keywords. So top pages, so it looks at the top pages on that, the top 10, and how many backlinks it's got from other sites. And then, of course, it's got like different things as well. Also, it gives you other ideas. So where you've got climate action, it gives you other keywords that people are also typing in around that. Also, some ideas for your prompts and questions. Don't worry, when it comes to AI, I am going to address the elephant in the room. So I'm going to get to that, so don't worry about that. So what you're seeing here is a tool that you can use for free, and you can do 3 searches a day for 0 money, that you can start building up and getting ideas of what words you can use so people can find you in search. Now, you can find people in search via Google and Bing, etc. Obviously, I've just mentioned about AI being a big thing and ChatGPT being a reference there, but also YouTube, also TikTok. So some of the other platforms, and this is just a really good tool that's going to give you some keywords around that. Ubersuggest. Now, if you're a bit more advanced when it comes to SEO, then, well, you'll know this tool, which is SEMrush. This is pretty much the big daddy tool of SEO. And there's a lot of stuff you can do for free on this one. And one of the key things here is what's called a content gap. Content gap is, this is the word that I'm after. This is the demand for particular words. Sorry, this is the subject. This is the demand for the subject. And is there any words which has a high demand but low supply? Because they're the ones that you might want to look at kind of creating content around to rank. Because a lot of people are after it, but there's not much content there. That's what SEMrush does. Domain authority. Now, this is still impactful, not as much as it was before, but some of you may not know that every single website on the internet has got what's called a domain authority or a domain rank. What this essentially is like a credit rating for your website. As you know, if you go to the try and get a loan or try and get a credit card, they're going to do a quick assessment. They're going to go to Experian or some of the credit rating providers, and they'll kind of work out how good your credit is. And the better the credit, the less your interest will be, or the more access you have to loans. The worse it is, obviously, the less you're going to have access to, and your interest might increase. Your website has the same thing, but obviously it's not, you can get loans and stuff. What it does is it helps Google work out how authoritative your website is based on keywords. Now, what I want you to do is I'm going to give you this tool right now. So there's a number of different sites that will tell you this, but the site that I like to use is called Ahrefs. It's called Website Authority Checker. Now, one of the companies I work with that I'm here because of is the Media Trust. Now, if I click out check authority, it's going to tell me what that number is. What is the authority of the Media Trust's website? And it tells me their domain rating is 60. It tells me how many links or how many links, backlinks from other sites are pointing to it. Also, it tells me how many websites are linking. So there's 10,000 backlinks from almost 1,000 websites. Everyone here can do this. And in fact, I'm going to put this in the chat, and I want you to find out what yours is. When we talk about strategic planning, you're going to break things down. What do you want to do short-term, medium-term, long-term? And this is a long-term strategy. You want to use this, and feel free to put your number in the chat as well. Use this to work out what your rating is, your authority is. So 77, that looks fantastic. Now, I'm going to give you some context behind the numbers as well. So we've got a 63, we've got a 79, we've got an 87, we've got another 77. We've got big numbers here, 70s and 80s. Hannah, 30 with a cry emoji. Don't worry about the crying, because I'm going to give you some context, as I said. Bailey, don't worry about it. 36 is good. 49 and a cry. Wow, that's Olivia. Your expectations are really high. One new client is 20. That's good. Vicky, 10. Now, let me give you some context. What is good? Right now, I'm looking at the screen, and let's say Suzanne, because you're the last one, 68. Is that good or bad? You might say that it's good in the sense that if all of your competitors got 31, then yeah. But 68 might not be great if everyone else is in 90. So this is why it's important to look at who are your top 10 competitors. And as I just done it for any site, I can do it for all of your sites. What are their domain authority? Because that gives you an indication of how good you are, because it's all based on relativity. It's all relevant. So this is a really cool tool to use. Your aim is to, out of all your top 10 or however many, whether it be competitors, partners, or who's taking your market share, you want to make sure that you are number one, or at least as high up as possible. So that is a really cool tool, Domain Authority Checker. Now, the saying that you'll hear in the world of digital is this: the money is in the list. If you've got a community, it makes life a lot easier. One of the key things that you're probably already trying to do is build a community, whether it be on social media, whether it be on email, whether it be elsewhere. You want to build a community because that's an asset to you. And the main two areas that I would say is your email list and phone. So email right now, I would say 3 ones that stand out for me from a free point of view is Substack. So Substack is great if you're going to do a newsletter. Kit used to be called ConvertKit, but that's a really good email provider. Very good what you can do for free. And MailerLite, that's another one that's good for free. Now, MailerLite and Kit, they have like a level of how many emails you can send out for free. I know MailerLite is about 500. I'm not 100% sure what Kit is, but it'll probably be anywhere between 500 and 1,000. But this is really important. I found that a lot of organizations similar to yourself use MailChimp, or historically has used MailChimp. I just find these two a bit more intuitive than that. The other thing to be aware of is WhatsApp. I really like WhatsApp. A lot of people might not see it as a tool, but if used correctly, it could be a powerful tool. Now, I would say my best community is WhatsApp. I've got a good few hundred people on just the community that I've got on WhatsApp, but it's more of a broadcast list. It's not like a group where everyone can talk onto it. It's just me broadcasting on that newsletter, essentially. So you can use WhatsApp as well. It's a really handy tool. And the good thing about WhatsApp is that everyone knows it and the open rate is going to be high. However, you'll probably get a higher drop-off rate just because it's on your phone and it's a bit more personal. So when it comes to distribution, I've mentioned search tools. I've spoken about domain authority, talking about building communities, because if you've got a community, you can just email them and you can then obviously, well, even send them a WhatsApp message and you can reach people's inbox. The other way when it comes to distribution, and this is where we get into stumble, the algorithms. Now, there is no one tool that you can use that's going to manipulate the algorithm. That's going to go down to your content. Because when it comes to the algorithms right now, there's two types of algorithms. There's the traditional algorithm, which is I have 10,000 followers, I post and it goes to a percentage of those followers. And then you've got the relevancy algorithm. The relevancy algorithm is the TikTok For You page. This is, I've created a piece of content about climate action and the algorithm is gonna work out the people that are into what I've just posted, regardless if they're following me or not. So that goes down to your content. So what we're gonna look at now is content. So, is this all making sense so far? Am I going at an okay speed? If it is, just press 1. If not, press 2. I just want to make sure that just generally it's a good pace for everyone. Perfect. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. So let's look at creating content. Everyone in here is a media company. You are a charity, social enterprise, and a media company by default. So because of that, you need to start thinking like them. So I would say that 99% of you are going to be, when it comes to creating content, you're either going to create videos, audio, images, text, or a mixture of all 4 of them. Yeah, we can create code. Some of you may create code. Some of you may create apps. Some of you may create widgets. But generally speaking, it's going to be one of these 4 things that you're going to create. So with that in mind, I'm just going to show you ways that you can create in all 4 spaces. But before you do that, the first thing you need is an idea. So the tool that I really like when it comes to coming up with ideas is called Answer the Public. If you don't know this tool, it's a really handy tool. Used correctly, this tool, you won't necessarily be thinking to yourself, what content do I create? You'll be thinking, what do I focus on? And it's a really cool tool. So how it works, you will go into, well, as you can see, I'm using the free version. I put in a particular keyword. So does anyone want to give me another keyword? If not, I'll just use climate action. Anyone want to give me another keyword relevant to them? Let's go with, sorry, I just need, well, there's a lot. Let's go with sustainable banking. I saw that. Sustainable banking. So what you do is you type in a particular word, and again, feel free to use this right now. What it's going to do is just going to give you a whole bunch of ideas, but it's also going to give you a whole bunch of other things as well. So it's just loading, as you can see. This may take a few seconds. And as you can see, let's see if it tells you how many. Okay, so you can see it's got loads of different ideas. So here, can I apply for a mortgage with a bank committed to sustainable lending? What is sustainable banking? Sustainable banking in the UK. It's got things like around in the shopping thing. This is what people are talking about on social media as well when it comes to these particular keywords. Sustainable banking, evolution of the European business models. Here you've got like a what's it called? Like a spider diagram, like a mind chart, whatever they're called. What's the difference between green banking and sustainable banking? That there is a question that you can answer in multiple formats. That could potentially be a whole series of things as well. How can a bank be more sustainable? Again, if you're an expert in the field, that might be, let's say, for example, there's 25 reasons why. Or let's make it, yeah, 25 reasons why. You could do that once a week on a Thursday. And that could be a talking head, that could be whatever. That's a year's worth of content. Just doing this quickly. Obviously, you need to create it, but this is where you could come up with ideas. Like really be thinking, how can we get the most out of this? Then you've got, so outside of that, you've got like prompts you can use. You've got organic search. This kind of brings in organic search as well, and shopping search, social media search. This is a really cool tool for you to use that just come up with ideas. And this has been one of my mainstay tools for a number of different years. I don't like wasting brain calories. Sometimes I can't be bothered to think. I'm just like, all right, what tool can I use? This is the idea. This is the keyword that's relevant to me. Come up with some ideas. And from there, it takes me in loads of different directions. So Ellie said, can you set a parameter on this for specific target audiences, people in certain age groups? That's where, when you start doing that, that's where it might have to pay for. How much it is, I don't know. As I said, I don't own shares. There's no affiliate link here. It might be worth looking into it. And this is not just for you, Ellie, for everyone. It's Black Friday coming up on Friday and Cyber Monday on Monday. If there was a time of the year to buy tools, now is the time because you can get some really good deals. Okay, so that helps you with ideas. Obviously, once you've got the idea, you need to create it. And going back to images or videos, a very good tool, and the tool that every single person in here should have, Canva. I'm sure everyone here's pretty much got Canva. This is a tool that you should have like you have email. Whether you're on Outlook or Google, you should have Canva as well. Like that's a mainstay tool. If you don't know, yeah, my bestie, lifesaver. Anona said, doesn't Canva now own your content? I'm not sure about that. I don't know unless they've changed it recently. However, it will be just like, it'll probably fall in line with a lot of the same ways social media like owns your content, which it doesn't technically own it. So, but I'm sure it'll be similar to that. Also, if you're a charity, as you probably know, you can get access to the premium one for free. So I've got 15 minutes left. I cannot deliver a session on tools going into 2026, talking about strategy without addressing the elephant in the room. And that's generative AI. I'm torn right now. I'm torn. And the reason I'm torn is because on one side, these tools, if used correctly, are game changers. They're life-changing tools. They are essentially what you've got. You've got weapons in the like 2040 and everyone else has still got bows and arrows and catapults. Like if done correctly, they're amazing. But the other side of me, and especially for everyone in here, for this group as well, is its impact on the environment. So that's why when it comes to generative AI, especially for this group, I'm torn on how to deliver this. What I will do is say this. On Thursday, 27th, so this Thursday, there is at 11:45, so same time, a talk on ethical and environmental impacts of digital and AI. So I'm not going to talk about it now because there's going to be a whole discussion just on that particular subject. What I will do is I will show you some tools, but be aware, even if you don't want to use the tools, this is what your competitors are doing. So sometimes it's good to kind of know what other people are doing purely because it will kind of give you an idea of, well, how can they create something so fast? Or how did they do this? Or how did they do that? So just be aware. Now, I'm making assumptions. And I'm saying, okay, because of the audience, you guys might not use AI. But let's find out. Right in front of you is a poll. Let me know. When it comes to AI, do you never or you refuse as well? Rarely use it, once or twice, occasionally a few times a month, often weekly or daily. Like you're probably on it right now. Where do you sit? So while I'm waiting for that, a lot of people's talked about impact on copyright and everything. I would say one of my most popular webinars that I deliver or training sessions is AI, the good, the bad, the ugly. The good is good things that it can do. The bad is the internal challenges that it's going to affect you, i.e., job security and things like that, skill gap. And third is the ugly environment, copyright, deep fakes, and all of that. Because like it's really important that we see it balanced. And I'm someone that likes to humanize all of this as well. So I'm going to end the poll because everyone knows voted. If I share the results, it's quite surprising. The least is never. And then the most is, well, occasionally and often is tied, daily, rarely, and daily as well. All right, brilliant. So I'm going to show you some AI tools. More importantly, I'm going to show you some ways to use some of these tools. Because when it comes to AI, there's three fundamental things to use. Whether you're using clean technology, and I'm going to talk about some clean technology AI tools, or some of the other AI tools. These three things that I'm going to tell you fundamentally are the fundamentals of AI. Without this first thing here, it will be very difficult to use any AI tool because you need to master the prompt. What do you type in to get a particular answer? What do you type in order to generate something? However, that's what a lot of people teach, prompt engineering. I actually think this one is way more important. And this one goes down to your imagination. If we had 45 minutes and the brief for me was create an app, I could get everybody in here, if they want to use AI, to create an app in 40. I could probably do it in 10 minutes. And this is not like a random thing. This is, I'm telling you, here's the site, here's the prompt, here's how to plan, go. And you'll be showing me apps almost as quick or as easy as it was to get the domain authority. But it goes down to your imagination. What type of app do you want to focus on? Because once you know the prompt, once you know your imagination, then it's just what tool to use. Now, most people, if it comes to AI, they're probably going to use some form of large language model. What I've got showing you, what I've got on this screen is I've got some of the names of them: black, blue, green. Black are pure AI companies. ChatGPT, which is the most popular, Claude, which is the second most popular, Perplexity as well. Blue are tools, and this is what you're going to find in almost anything when it comes to technology. These tools might not have started with AI, but every single tool you're going to use is going to have some form of AI in it. Whether you're using Outlook for emails, that has AI already, because that's Copilot. Whether you're using Google Workspace, that has Gemini. DuckDuckGo, if you don't know DuckDuckGo, it's a browser that's kind of really focused on privacy. That has AI. And then there's a site, I've not used this one, but I've worked, as I said, I've worked with a lot of charities, thousands of charities, and they always give me things to look at. And GreenPT is a large language model like ChatGPT, which you could potentially use, which is very much focused on sustainability and the environment. So I know there's a lot of conversation going on in the chat. I'm not looking at it just because I want to deliver this quickly. So when it comes to AI, I would say that on the large language models, if you're using it, which is 85% of everyone in here, there's only 8 things that you're pretty much using it for. And these are the 8 things you want to master. Generating content. I've seen some people talking about it being human. It looks like generic. I would say the reason why is because you haven't trained it. If I go into my ChatGPT, it doesn't sound generic because I've trained it to sound like me. So that's the reason why if you see things that sounds quite generic, or you see those M dashes, you know, those long hyphens, you can tell it's AI generated purely because they haven't trained the model. So one, you can use it to generate content, and that could be from text all the way to a feature-length film or an app. Analyze information. What does this data mean? And help me explain it to whoever it may be. Summarizing. I love Diary of a CEO podcast, but I don't have 2 hours to watch twice a week. You could put the link in YouTube or even a transcript and say, summarize this into the 5 key points. And if you've trained your model, you could even say, summarize it into the 5 key points. And out of that, what are the 4 things that I can use to help grow my charity? Reformatting, taking something in one format and turning it into another format. Idea generation. Now, I actually think it's not great at ideas. Just like with humor, I actually think these large language models are not good at ideas and humor. What they are good at is if you have an idea, for it to use it to bounce off that person. As I said, I like to humanize it. I try and make it like this is like an assistant to me. I might use Answer the Public for the idea, and then I throw it into this to expand it. Asking questions. Again, you can ask questions, any questions, tutorials, things like, what's the meaning of life? Whatever it may be, like you can use it to ask questions. Optimizing. Take what I'm saying, I'm just rambling, and can you optimize it so it goes to my boss? Or can you optimize it because it needs to be sent to a particular audience? So you can just use it to optimize. Optimize my website so it works for this particular target audience. And research and educating yourself. So research and education and asking questions, that's where it does what's called hallucinations the most. This is where you might start getting questions a bit right or wrong. But generally speaking, if you look at your last 50 prompts, it's going to be one of these 8 things. So what we want to know then, or what we want to get good at, is how can I make them better? I often refer to this like karate. You know, in karate, you've got white belts and you've got black belts. Generic prompts are white belts. We want to know, how do we make our prompts better so we kind of like black belt prompting or any of the belts leading up to the black belt. And this is where tools like Schumer Prompt can help. Because what Schumer Prompt can do is you can type in your generic prompt and it will go in. You can select what model you want to use, what large language model, and it will go in and it will change it. So it can pick Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude, and it can make it a better prompt. So then you can copy and paste that in to get a better answer. Also, you can do this in ChatGPT. So I typed in, how can charities navigate environmental issues with AI? That will be the prompt, the basic prompt. But it can go away and work out what exactly a better prompt would be for ChatGPT. And this is the link. And as I said, you're going to get a copy of all the links afterwards. Image generators. Again, when it comes to images, if you might notice that there's a theme going through this deck. I use image generators. Right now is a really exciting place. I could type in a prompt and it can create an image. However, I actually use it more for editing. I'm not good at Photoshop, or even with Canva, I'm not great at Canva, but I can use some of these tools to help when it comes to editing. You can be creative as well. Powerful yet lonely, genius yet lonely. You could be really creative when it comes to that. As I said, it goes back to your imagination. Then you've got videos. Now, I'm not going to get into videos, but what I want to show you is the level that you can get to. Right now, you're going to hear things called AI slop. And this is where people just putting in any random thing. And next thing you know, you've got Tupac in a wrestling ring with the Queen and Stephen Hawking's like talking about it. Like that's the type of AI slop that you might see on social media. However, I'm going to play you this video. And this is about loneliness. But you're going to see this is all AI generated, and you're going to see the quality that people can create as long as it goes down to the prompt, your imagination, and the tool.
People don't mean to be cruel. It's just when you look like me, people don't really see you. They see monster. I tried yoga once. Thought maybe it'd help me relax, center myself or whatever, but yeah, don't want to talk about it. I even tried one of those dating apps. Let's just say the algorithm wasn't built for someone like me. So most days I just stay home and listen to the world outside, and I think, man, that must be nice. to just belong somewhere. But Halloween, that night's different. That's the one night I can walk around and no one screams. And I feel human. Yeah, I scare people. I get it. But you know what scares me? Being alone.
Au bout du fil, la nuit défile dans mon exil, un coin tranquille.
See, that is the type of thing you can create. Now, I'm seeing in the, certain things feel uncomfortable, etc. As I said, I'm not here to convince or to try and say, do it or don't do it. What I want to do is I want to show you what's possible. And this is just an example of some of the things that you can create in a few minutes. In fact, the person who created
this...
Hey
guys, just wanted to say how crazy the response to the video has been. I'm honestly blown away by all the love and support.
You could also say that, what was his name again?
Simon.
Yeah, right. He wanted to say thanks too.
Yeah, thanks. Also from Simon for all the amazing feedback. Seriously, appreciate it.
So these are some of the things. As I said, it's not here to convince you. It's here to say this is what's possible. So some other things that you might want to use, and some of you might use already, note takers. You can have meetings with somebody over Teams, Zoom, wherever it may be. And rather than you sit down and take the notes, you can have people, or you can have these AI note takers take a notes, summarize. You can then go back and start asking questions about what was said. These are really handy tools to have. But we're at the point now where technology is catching up to our ideas. Whether we're using AI tools or non-AI tools, and as I said, it's almost impossible to avoid when it comes to AI, because even if you're using email, which you probably all are, there's AI already in it. We're at the point now where if we can think it, there's probably a tool for that, or we can create it. So that's why when it comes to these tools, this is where we are. But even more important, to go back to your strategy. So let's look at conversion very, very quickly because I've got 2 minutes. Auditing tools. HubSpot Website Grader, or any website grader, is really important because it kind of breaks down how your site is when it comes to performance, when it comes to taking donations, when it comes to security, when it comes to SEO, and a whole bunch of things. So always, I would say once every 6 months, use some form of website grader because it will give you, just like an MOT would do. This is red, what's on your site, which means fix immediately. Green, amazing. Orange, you're all right for probably another 3 or 4 months, but you're going to have to change it. Google's got something called PageSpeed Insights that tells you how fast your site is. Accessibility checker. This is really important. How accessible is your site to people with disabilities? This site here, you just type in your URL and it does checks different compliances when it comes to that. And IP Vanity URL checker, really good. If there's a new social media tool or you've got a new campaign and you don't want people to use that name, grab it. I often say to people, you might not want to be on TikTok, but would you be annoyed if someone was using your charity's name on their TikTok? So tiktok.com/whatever your name is, because now you have zero control on what they post. When it comes to websites analytics, Google Analytics, again, please make sure everyone's got Google Analytics. And when it comes to the social media, pretty much all of them, and as well as email, they'll all have their analytics in there. And unless you're like huge volumes, that's all you need, really. It has enough. Those tools are enough. And when it comes to competitive research, here's just a few other tools that you can look at. Fanpage Karma is good for Facebook, comparing your Facebook to someone else's. Social Blade across multiple social medias, and Toolzoo is good for Instagram. So there you have it. Now, for me, what I do is I'm always looking for new AI tools, especially, well, non-AI and AI tools. But I do have a starter kit if you're interested in what tools to use for free. I'm always looking at green and clean technology. If I ever see something that is really good that can help, I'll always be showcasing this. But rather than having thousands of tools, these are kind of the main ones that people tend to be using. So feel free, if you want, to see what tools that I personally would recommend. So, well, it's gone the time, so I don't think I'll have time to answer the questions, but I'll very, very quickly. Would you rank Substack above the traditional email newsletter? Substack is just a good free one. It's easy to create content for. I personally would use MailerLite or Kit, but I don't want to ignore Substack. What about things like Instagram or YouTube as a community builder? Yes, you can, but the problem with social media that we're finding right now is that it's becoming pay to play. Yes, with their algorithms, but it's becoming harder and harder. And with all of this AI content that people are putting up, it's going to be even harder for your content to be seen on social media. So what I would always recommend is have something off of social media to build a community as well, like an email list, or for me, WhatsApp. Katie, hi Katie. Any AI PowerPoint sites, please? Right now, I wouldn't recommend any, if I'm being honest. There are sites out there where you can build presentations, but right now, I don't think any of them are very good. In fact, Google's got one in Google Slides. That's probably the best one, but even then, I think there's one called Gamma. I'm not a massive fan of them. Chrissy, any tips for making your website more authoritative? Unfortunately, Chrissy, because time is up, I won't be able to answer that because that's a long answer. That's quite a long answer. There's multiple things that's gonna be there. But feel free, if anyone, this is my LinkedIn. If you have any questions, you can find me on LinkedIn, Andrew M. Davis. And if you have any questions, I can answer questions there. So I just want to say thank you. I'm looking at the feedback here. Thank you so much, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed it, but more importantly, you found it useful. I could easily spend a day just on tools. So hopefully in that time, I've given you enough tools for you to kind of get away or go away and start trying some things out. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of these 2-3 days. Check out the AI workshop on Thursday as well. Not the workshop, the panel to discuss what it's doing from an ethical point of view. And yes, I saw questions about AI and art, AI and creativity. I'm from the creative space. And the last thing I will say is this. Right now, I think if you're in the creative space, you're in a golden position. I really do think you're in a golden position. A lot of people think it's going to replace it, but I actually think you're in a golden position because you know what good looks like. So I'll leave it at that.